Modern society operates through a mechanism that functions like a prison even when no bars are visible. The origin of this mechanism is not speculative. It comes from a concrete architectural proposal by Jeremy Bentham in 1791, the Panopticon. Bentham designed a circular building with a tower at the center where a single observer could potentially see every inmate, while the inmates could never know when observation was occurring. The logic was mathematical. Uncertainty would produce obedience more efficiently than chains. Michel Foucault, in Discipline and Punish, 1975, treated this design as a diagram of modern power itself. His claim was factual rather than poetic. Industrial societies discovered that continuous visibility is cheaper and more reliable than open violence. When people believe they might be watched, they adjust their posture, their speech, even their thoughts, and discipline becomes automatic. Foucault identified 4 technical instruments behind this transformation: surveillance, normalization, examination, and documentation. These are not abstract ideas, they are daily procedures. Schools record attendance by the minute, rank students through exams, and archive those results for decades. Factories calculate output per hour. Hospitals classify patients through diagnostic codes, and offices evaluate workers with performance metrics. Each institution claims to describe reality, yet in practice it produces reality by deciding what counts as normal. Psychiatry did not simply uncover mental illness, it created categories that allowed doctors to confine, medicate, and correct. Criminology did not merely study criminals, it manufactured the image of the criminal type, giving courts a scientific language to justify punishment. Medicine established standards for the normal body, turning natural variation into medical deviation. These are historical facts, not metaphors. This is why Foucault fused 2 words into one concept: power/knowledge. Knowledge grants power the right to intervene, and power selects which knowledge will be recognized as truth. The prison, the clinic, the school, and the office therefore operate as laboratories where human beings are measured and corrected. Discipline prefers files to whips and statistics to soldiers because numbers appear neutral and therefore irresistible. The goal is not to destroy the individual, but to manufacture a predictable, useful subject who cooperates voluntarily. The digital era intensified this structure beyond anything Bentham could imagine. Smartphones register location, purchases, and friendships. Platforms count clicks and emotions. Algorithms predict creditworthiness and political inclination. Cameras read faces in streets and airports. Observation no longer requires a tower because the tower travels in pockets. The Korean-German philosopher Byung-Chul Han describes this as the passage from the disciplinary society to the achievement society, where individuals exploit themselves in the name of freedom and productivity. People work late without orders, display their lives online without coercion, and transform their personalities into marketable profiles. Control has become enthusiastic. The French thinker Gilles Deleuze extended Foucault's analysis in 1992, arguing that we have moved from enclosed institutions to societies of control. Instead of fixed prisons and factories, there are flexible networks, logins, passwords, ratings, and continuous assessment. A worker leaves the office but carries the office in email. A student leaves the classroom but remains inside educational platforms. The enclosure dissolves while the control multiplies. Consider ordinary situations. Employees accelerate typing because software counts keystrokes. Drivers obey routes because applications score their behavior. Citizens soften opinions because posts can be screenshotted and stored forever. None of this requires a dictator. It requires only interfaces, terms of service, and the promise of convenience. Surveillance becomes gentle, almost soporific, and therefore more effective than any shouted order. This system succeeds for three identifiable reasons. First, people accept observation when it arrives as protection against crime, disease, or inefficiency. Second, measurement appears scientific, and what looks scientific seems morally legitimate. Third, individuals internalize the gaze and begin to supervise themselves. The guard quietly migrates into the nervous system, and obedience is renamed responsibility. Foucault never claimed there was a secret committee designing this world. He described a historical process in which techniques invented for prisons spread to schools, barracks, hospitals, and finally to everyday life. Power became decentralized and implacable, precisely because it looked reasonable. We learned to introduce ourselves through categories: student, patient, employee, user, without noticing that each label carried a set of permitted behaviors. The conclusion is technical rather than melodramatic. Modern societies do not need to break bodies, they shape habits and possibilities. They do not command citizens to be silent, they teach citizens to edit themselves before speaking. The essential question, therefore, is not whether we feel free, but who designed the menu of choices that feels like freedom. Until that architecture becomes visible, the prison remains elegant, efficient, and invisible, while we walk through its open doors, convinced that we chose the path ourselves.